Today in India, we celebrate a special festival. It is called as Raksha Bandhan. Raksha means protection and Bandhan means the bondage of protection. It's a very nice good social custom to have this beautiful festival today. Today is the full moon day, and this day what we do is to tie a band of threads around the person whom you want to protect. But it is done between brothers and sisters. The sisters tie this bondage to the wrist of the brothers, and when they do that, they are putting all their love around the wrist, that it is the day for giving all their love, everything to their brother as a protection, as a symbol of their protection through that thread. It's a very, very simple thread they use. And this has to be tied on the left-hand side, but people tie it on the right-hand side, which is a mistake. But it has to be tied on the left-hand side. In our Sahaja Yoga, the significance of left wrist is that it is the left Vishuddhi. Left Vishuddhi, which is here. And this is the left Vishuddhi expressed here. You know that very well. Now, left Vishuddhi is the place where our relationship of brothers and sisters exist. When they are disturbed within us, we start getting the problem of the left Vishuddhi. In these modern times, to talk of pure relationship seems to be quite boring for many people. But it's very practical and logical. I would say it is the most scientific thing to do. For example, every brother has a special feeling for a sister. And her chastity is very dear to every brother. If he's a normal person, if he's abnormal, then forget it. But normally a brother is very particular about the chastity of the sister. And he doesn't like anybody to in any way even pass a remark against the chastity of a sister. I mean, these natural things we might have lost because of whatever you may call it, the modern style of thinking or the machinery that is sitting on our heads. But the normal thing is to feel that way purely about the sister, and the sister about the brother. Brothers and sisters' relations are extremely pure and are also accepted in this country very well. For example, even in England, if you go to a hotel and if you are brothers and sisters, they'll say that sleep in two separate rooms, because under law you cannot sleep in one room. But in India, people will not understand, because if they are brothers and sisters, they should sleep in one room only. They say, what is going to go wrong with them? I mean, people can't understand. It's an insult to say to brothers and sisters that you should not sleep together. It won't be good, it is illegal. There is no law against this, because nobody does that. You see, it is like they say, we don't say that don't eat feces. In the same way it is, I mean, you are not to pass a law for a thing like that. So people are quite shocked at seeing such laws. And first thing people told me, do you know what sort of laws there are? And I was amazed at this kind of a thing. I mean, people are so much natural that it is naturally comes to them that how brothers and sisters can be like that. Apart from that, supposing you call somebody as your sister or as your brother. It's a very well worshipped connection in India and should be with us also. If you call somebody a sister, then not only that you do for her the way you would do for your sister, but in all your relationships, in all your festivals, in all the weddings in the family, she is treated like a sister. Now I had somebody like that who called me a sister. When they got their daughter married, I told them it may not be possible for me to come to Delhi on that date. So they changed the date. But they said for engagement, we'll come to Bombay and have the engagement because you are there. I mean, I'm not related to him as a sister. But these things never crawl into the heads of the people. When this brother of mine, who might be at least, I think, 16, 17 years older than me, was going to Delhi, my husband says, very good, he's going, so now you can go with him in the train. And they booked a coupe for us. I mean, it was quite natural, and I mean, that it should be. I mean, my husband would not allow me to travel alone in any other compartment, but with my own brother. I mean, he is just like my own brother. The more you think about it, the purity of it, just think how we keep ourselves clean, our attentions clean, our societies clean. For example, you go to somebody's house. The gentleman has 3-4 sisters. Now, when you go to his house, you are his friend, then they are also your sisters. No complications. There's no problem. In the same way, Sahajogis and Sahajoginis are brothers and sisters. You have to understand that you are brothers and sisters, and the relationship between us has to be purer and purer and purer. There should be no choice going on between brothers and sisters. But if somebody has a feeling for someone from the very beginning, not like a sister, then a relationship can be established. Or somebody sees someone for the first time, not as a Sahajogini, but is shown as a bride or something, then it's a different point. But if the person has been a Sahajogi and a Sahajogini, let this feeling grow within you of complete purity. It will clear out many of our problems, and you will be amazed, our attention will settle down very beautifully within us. I'll give you a very wonderful story from the history of India. Once Alexander the Great invaded India, and he was a very powerful man. He came up to a place where there was one king called as Puru who arrested him. When King Puru arrested him, he put him in the jail. But the wife of Alexander was an Indian lady. And he did not know, Puru did not know that she was an Indian lady. But Indian lady, as she was, very clever, and she knew the traditions of the family. That was the day, what is today, is of Raksha Bandhan. So when King Puru came to the courts, in one little plate, a brass plate or a silver plate, she sent one Rakhi and covered it with a proper cloth and sent it to him. So when on that day the Rakhi came, you cannot refuse it. So he asked, who has sent it? He said, one of your sisters has sent it. You are not to refuse that relationship. And when he opened it, he found a Rakhi there. So the Rakhi was tied to him. He said, who is this sister of mine? So they said, she is the wife of Alexander. He was so upset with that idea that he is my brother-in-law and I have put him in the jail. He went there, he said, "Sir, please forgive me, I'm sorry." He prostrated himself before Alexander. He said, "Come along now to the courts." He took him, "You sit on my throne, I'm sorry for whatever I done, you do whatever you please. You can take this thing." And he couldn't understand what has happened. He thought he's gone mad or what. Then with great pomp and show he sent him home with all the jewelry and everything, and with all the things for the sister, whom he had never seen before. So when he went in, the wife was smiling. He said, "What's the matter? How am I here? I can't understand. What have you done?" He said, "What do you have in your hand?" So he said, "This is the Rakhi, I've got it." He said, "What did you do?" He said, I just sent a Rakhi like this to this Alexander. "Did you see in his hand?" "Yes," he said, "it was tied on his hand." "So that's it." He said, "What? For this he left me? I would devour this country completely." He said, "He's left you because that's a symbol of sisterhood. Sisterhood is a very powerful relationship. He cannot cross that. There are maryadas. You cannot cross that relationship. If a sister is before you, you just stop there. That's a maryada. You cannot go beyond it." And then Alexander just thought, look at these people. On a thread, they are going to release a man like me who is so dangerous. What sort of people are they? He just bowed to the soil of India and he said, "Oh Lord, please, I cannot do anything anywhere." He returned back from Karachi and he said, "I am not going to rule this country anymore. It is too much. They are too sensitive people for me to do it." But in the society, we have to know that you can only enjoy if you have one wife, really. Your society can enjoy better and you can enjoy a better life if you have only one life whom you love and she loves you. Now, what we see in modern societies today is that even after marriage, even having 10 children, the old men are going searching for their brides. It's such a wasteful energy. It's such a boring stuff. It's absolutely joyless nonsense. So let us settle down today and decide among ourselves that we have to establish our left Vishuddhi by understanding the purity of brothers and sisters. The purity of brothers and sisters has to be established. Now, today is the day when in India we had a function held where people tied Rakhi to someone whom they found to be a sister. And still now, it's now 10 years have passed to those things, but that day they will call the sister. And sister comes and she ties the Rakhi and the brother has to give some sweet present to her. And the sister makes some nice things for him to eat and everybody is very happy. Even the wife is very happy at such a thing. Because if the husband does not have a sister, how will she enjoy her married life with her husband? Because he'll be always having bad eyes towards other women. This sister teaches you to put your attention in such a way that you automatically become righteous. Now, when we extend our righteousness, when we see, to me, when I came first, I came long time back as I told you, when I saw the women dressed the way they are, I was amazed. What are these women doing? They are writing welcome and like prostitutes, just attracting men. Horrible it was. I just couldn't understand how have they lost their character. Just like pornography walking on the streets. It's ugliness. And I was vomiting all the time. Oh, vomiting. I was so sick. I just couldn't understand what are these women doing here. And this is the sense of chastity the women must have first. We cannot put the responsibility on men. the way women move about, the way they behave, the way they are all the time. Here I was surprised that men will button their coats if they see a lady, and a lady will open her clothes. But it's just the other way round. It should be. What is there in a man's body to hide? But a woman has to be respectable. If she has no respectability, she has no business to complain for all these things that are going on, like rapes and all sorts of filth and dirt. As Sahajogis, I would request you to pay attention to this side of your society, which is very important, that how women in their foolishness are becoming slaves to the caprices of men. In their esteem and glory they should stand and must know that chastity is their power. If a woman doesn't have a chastity and a dignity of chastity, why do they have rape business? Rape is absolutely should be acceptable to us. It should be just absolutely just like going to the bathrooms. What is wrong in it? But that sense has to be born when you have a brother. And when you know what is a brother is, then you will know that would you like to do this before your brother? To walk on the roads in this manner, to walk on the streets like cheap women. For Sahajoginis, it doesn't. Sahajoginis have to be dignified. There are so many dignified dresses in this country. I don't know where have they vanished. I don't know what has happened to them. Now, the way women walk here, I think from the dictionary, the words like prostitutes and all that will vanish completely. Though it may sound very out of date, but it is the most modern and the ultra-modern thought, if you give it a thought to it. It will create an atmosphere for you in which you will feel extremely secured. Now, take the modern disease of women have is of breast cancer. You know that breast cancer is caused because of the center heart problem, as you see there. Now, center heart is caused to a woman when she sees her husband is having those adulterous eyes as Christ has described. That starts working. She feels insecure all the time with a man like that, you see. She's walking hand in hand, but inside this insecurity is building up. All women who suffer from such subconscious worries and subconscious, what you can call it, the fears, suffer from breast cancers. So those women who walk about like that are adding to it. Now those women who walk about like this also are losing Ganesha's blessings completely according to Sahaja Yoga. Because you are just trying to be nothing but prostitutes. Just think of it. And this is one thing I have been thinking of saying, and today is the most auspicious day that I have said to you in such clear words. So please understand that you have to respect your chastity, and men have to respect women as sisters and not as every woman is for them for their use. That's how they are reducing the value of their mothers and their sisters. And in the country where the women are not respectable, no gods are going to remain. That's why all these horrible things are happening in this country and in the countries which are taking to this kind of life. These horrible things are working out in such a manner that you cannot imagine what satanic forces are working it. Prostitutes who have died are coming back as spirits they are possessing. All sorts of sly and filthy women who are not to enter into the thresholds of the temples of households are entering into your household because you have accepted their way of life. And the only thing they say, what's wrong? The depth of it is to understand it is the greatest cause of today's malignancy. Not only physical, not only emotional, not only moral, but social malignancy. You just see, it's very subtle. I know you are so many realized souls, you can understand it. You go to somebody's house to have relationship with them, to talk to them, to be free with them. This is what is collectivity, isn't it? You go into a group of people where you want to have absolute free behavior with them. Like children, you want to play, talk to them in a simple manner. You cannot do it. If you have such an obsession, you cannot. Your eyes will be fixed on one or two persons, you will be running after one or two persons. Even in music I have seen, people cannot enjoy their music because their attention is moving here and there for nonsensical things. It's a very subtle thing, try to understand. It's by which your collectivity is killed. That's why here people are so frantic. Anybody comes, they close the door. They're so afraid of other people. They do not want to talk to anyone. They do not want to have anything with them because they don't know what sort of attack is going to come. And the worst attack is this social attack of which they are frightened. Today being this day, I would say that you should ask for strength to rise above all these nonsensical ideas which have settled down and become those beautiful people, the special ones, the unique people who respect their chastity and that of their sisters. Let this feeling grow, create health and wealth in this country. And there are so many types of things which one can say that Lakshmi and Vishnu were married, and the sister of Vishnu was Parvati, the one who is the Mahakali. And Vishnu was a royal person because he is in the center, he was like a king. While Mahadeva, the Shankara, was a person who lived like a ascetic, you see, didn't bother about anything. He used to only rub those chandan and all those things on the faces, and used to, his vahana is a big bull, and he's not very well covered his body, and he lives like an ascetic, you see. You can call him a hippie, all right. And while she comes from a royal family, and she's feeling very shy, that look at this. My husband is such a fellow coming on that horrible thing, and his disciples have one eye, or they have one horn, or they have a tail coming out from here. You know, all kinds of things has gathered. You see, as I have gathered also sometimes. And then she's feeling very shy. And she thinks, oh God, now what my people are going to say and what they are going to do. So she prays. She says, please, Vishnu, she says, please let me see what is your position to my husband. And she finds that Vishnu is washing the feet of Shiva. I mean, just see, just feel it. How beautiful it is, how beautiful it sounds. You see, because he is the husband of my sister. And he says that even all the wealth of my being, if I give you as the dowry, O my sister, how can I adorn this ascetic of the King of Kings? And the whole conversation is so beautiful. The brother and sister talking to each other. She's feeling shy and he's trying to tell her. You see, all these beauties are lost because the whole thing becomes a sex point. All the manifestations and the sublimation of these things are lost. Now, I would tell you today, because today is the day, I don't want to talk about all the Kundalini thing, but one thing about Kundalini I have to tell you, what is the way to bring forth this thing. Like when a child is born in the family, as you know, Gavin has got a little girl and Peter has a little son. The child is allowed to sleep, should be allowed to sleep with everyone in the family, with the brothers, sisters, everyone. That is the time when the inner sense is complete. And they then touch those sublime areas within them, which makes them enjoy that sublimity all their lives. But if you make the child from the very beginning conscious that he should not sleep with this one and sleep with that, and if you sleep with that and that is you don't sleep with a boy and don't sleep with a woman and all that, see, they start thinking, what do we do? What's the matter with these people, you see? They just don't understand. And then ideas start falling into them and funny things come up. The places where they have taken so much care and give up so much training and all that, you find it's so perverted. While the places where they don't talk about it is perfect, they live naturally, nobody does these things. And then, under these circumstances, when you develop that sublimity within you, enjoy your chastity. So to such an extent that it becomes even more important than your life. Like in India, there was a case when a very beautiful queen, Padmavati, was Padmini. She was known all over for her beauty and dignity. The beauty doesn't mean like Elizabeth Taylor style, you see. It's a different type. Now this lady was a wife of a king. And a Muslim emperor said that, I want to see this lady. So they said, all right, you can see her, there's no harm in seeing. But she said, no. Why does he want to see me? He wants to see with bad eyes. So at the most, if he has to see me, he can see me only in a mirror. I will not directly face him, because that's a question of my chastity. He can look at my reflection, but not at my body. So she stood it and he saw her in the mirror. Instead of feeding the sublimity of that chaste woman, he felt that he must get that woman. And he said that somehow or other I must have the woman. If you don't give me this woman, then I am going to just finish you off. I am going to kill you, all of you. Now they did not know what to do. And they were not such a big kingdom, and he was such a ferocious man. Now what to do? So then they said, we cannot do this, to send our queen to this man. This is against our manliness. Because, you see, that sense of chastity, of saving the chastity of women was there. So they sent a message that we are coming to see, we are bringing the queen to you. And they made 100 palanquins. In the 100 palanquins, they put 100 sepoys, you see, inside. And the king sat in the first one. And 4 people were carrying the palanquin. In the palanquin were the arms and ammunitions. And they thus walked into the military camps that were there, just pitched for this. And they had told these women that in case we lose, then you will see no signs from us. In the morning, if you see about 5 o'clock a big fire, then know that we have won. And when this emperor, he drank a lot and he came to the queen and opened the door. First his hand was cut and everybody started fighting. And a big fighting began. They fought to their last, but they lost. Because they were very few in number. They lost it. So these women were looking out for a thing, and when they found that there is no sign, so they made a huge big pyre on a fortress, all of them, and they made a big huge fire on that pyre and got into it and killed them before anybody could touch them. There have been many such stories. But this comes only if you have a sense of chastity. If you do not have the sense of chastity, you will think this foolishness, why should they kill? Because nothing dies. This body doesn't die. But if you become unchaste, you are ruined. You have no respect for yourself there. So, we have to today think that we have to lead a life of very good brothers and sisters, with all of affection and love. From India, all the people have written to me. They have sent their best wishes to you. They send their love to you. They have remembered all of you by names and everything. They are very happy about the marriages that took place. And they are very much anxious to receive you in India. They said, whatever is possible, in our small way, we'll attend to you and look after you. But this day, we all remember you because we are your brothers and sisters. And they have also sent it to Australian people and to some Americans and to other people like Gregor and all that. So all of them are today thinking of you, all you brothers.